Native American women in Minnesota are more likely to go missing and experience violence than women in other ethnic groups.
Now a new state office is dedicated to finding missing and murdered Indigenous people. The move is the first of its kind in the country. As our Caroline Cummings reports, advocates say it will shine a light on the issue, and they hope other states will follow.
This spring, cardboard cutouts of red dresses dotted the state capitol lawn, reminders of all the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls whose memory is sadly invisible to most of us.
We go missing twice. We go missing, once when you're physically, the person is physically missing, and the second time we go missing is in the media and in our whose faces we hear about and whose stories we hear about.
Nicole Matthews has spent the last 20 years at the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition trying to shine a light on these stories and the crisis of missing and murdered Indigenous women in our state. Systems designed to serve justice often fail them. Data shows that while Native Americans make up just 1% of Minnesota's population, they account for 8 to 9% of all murdered girls and women in the state in the last decade. 27 to 54 Native American women and girls were missing in our state in any given month from 2012 to 2020.
All of us have a connection to it.
Now, Minnesota has the nation's first state office dedicating time and resources to tackling the problem. The state legislature signed off on it at the Capitol this year after Matthews and dozens more worked for more than a year on a task force.
The creation of this task force, the creation of this office is definitely a value statement.
Senator Mary Kunesh says the office will serve as a clearinghouse for information from state agencies, tribal governments, and members of the community. It will collect better data on the scope of the problem and assist local and tribal law enforcement with open cases.
Having that conformity across state government is going to make a big difference.
While Minnesota is the first state with an office like this, advocates hope it won't be the last.
It's not just numbers. These are our sisters, these are our relatives, and so this has always been about our community.
Caroline Cummings, WCCO 4 News.
The Wisconsin Department of Justice established a missing and murdered Indigenous women task force last summer. Minnesota also created a task force on missing and murdered African American women this year.